Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I'm here at Productronica 2013 and I'm joined by Tom Forsythe from Kyzen. Tom, good to see you again. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning.
I think last time I saw you we were in Texas last.
Yeah, I think so.
Texas and then Shenzhen, southern China before that. What kind of innovations? What's new in the cleaning world at the moment?
Well, there's a number of things that are new. Of course, in the bigger picture, there's a lot of demand on the advanced packaging and 3D and 2D and 2.5D and that sort of thing. But a bit closer to everyone's home. Of course, that's a subset of the population. On a broader base, we've been doing a lot of work and study in the stencil cleaning arena, and looking at the materials, including our own, as well as all the tooling and the machines that are out there. We discovered something really interesting, and that unlike we see in other areas, where there's constant innovation on the material side, moving ahead rapidly, and the machines are kind of making modest incremental gains.
Yep.
In the stencil cleaning arena, it's kind of the opposite. The products have been around, tried and true. They work okay, and they've been around forever, 20 years nearly.
Yeah.
Whereas on the tooling side, the machines, there's just lots and lots of manufacturers, a few new ones popping in and out, and lots of models, lots of options. So the innovation seems to have focused on the hardware side.
Yeah.
We said, well, boy, that's really atypical. That's a bit unusual, and it was true for us as well. We hadn't done much in that space. So, well, let's take a look at that. And after studying all the machine options and the tooling, things kind of fell into a few broad categories. And we then set upon us, all right, we do all this work to study the materials very thoroughly for assembly cleaning. Well, certainly that data applies to the paste as well, perhaps more liberally, because it's a bit easier, of course. But now we're talking about 005s and all this sort of stuff. Tiny, tiny holes or apertures. Yeah. And there was room there. So we've come out with some new products targeted in different areas. Of course, one of the big options is where people don't want to rinse with water.
Right.
They don't have a lot of that in the process. A lot of machines that are offered in that area. We've got a new product, Aquanox 8820, really designed to fit into that self-rinse or no-rinse sort of thing. Really getting rave reviews out of the early adopters. Second broad category, the ultrasonics folks.
Right.
A number of different suppliers on the tooling side there. Different issue. A lot less mechanical energy, even though sonics is rather homogeneous. More commonly water rinse, all but exclusively.
Yeah.
So again, product there, particularly low VOC, which helps in certain parts of the world as it's growing. And then the solvent stuff. The print is interesting. The duty number is that 70% of all assembly problems are at the foot of the printer, which is a number that no one's come up with a new number in decades, and I think that number's probably vastly exaggerated. But yet there's that perception. Well, part of that is the underscreen cleaning.
Yeah.
A lot of people use dry wipe alone, and when you dry wipe something that's gooey at home, does it really come off, or do you just shove it around?
Yeah.
Well, the reality is you do shove it around. It spreads. And once it spreads, when that stencil is pushed down on the next board, what's it adhering into the land areas? So we've done a lot of work there, looking at different things. Some new products to good flash, good better cleaning with the no materials. And of course those can be used for as well as underscreen for people who have the pneumatic devices. There's some folks have really liked the pneumatic in IPA, and IPA was pretty darn good on rosin 20 years ago.
Right.
Much less so these days. So it's really been interesting because we are constantly innovating on the product side. Always new products on a steady stream. But this was an area we just really hadn't said, we and I think everyone else, it's just stencil cleaning, what's changed?
Yeah.
And of course, everything's changed.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty exciting, and the customers are really reacting to it. It's really
I would imagine so. And from a customer point of view, it's interesting because I see quite a lot of the screen print guys wanting to provide total solutions. They talk about total solutions, providing the printer, providing the screens, providing cleaning materials, those kind of things. What does that mean for your business? Do you have options in white labeling there, or is it a design and spec?
The reality is that we live in an era where specialized expertise is the order of the day, and collaboration is the key to success. So there are all kinds of options and potentials there to make some arrangements with folks, because now what we're doing is we're trying to bring the best technical solution to the folks that know the most about the equipment. Obviously we can look at a stencil and give a very critical eye as to whether that's clean or not, and that sort of thing. But obviously the folks in the printer business know a bit more about the printer.
Yeah.
So those are absolute options and things that are being developed as we speak.
Okay, and we also see quite a lot of additions to the print process. We see things like, for example, the Proactive that DEC have, the vibrating squeegees, those kind of things that change the dynamic of the actual print. Does that impact then on the cleaning process?
Well, I think it does, because all these things become more sensitive. What's going on is as those are being developed, they're being developed with a set of presumptions about the cleanliness of the stencil, any potential residue on it. One of the great concerns is, gee, if I get too much liquid up through the apertures, what's that going to do to the paste as it makes the next roll? Those sorts of things. There's a lot of science going on in printing. We're doing the industry's doing very exciting things. And whenever you push the envelope, the things at the edges are what do you in.
Yeah.
You're worried about the big things, right?
Yeah.
You see those coming.
Yeah.
It's these little,
it's that,
ooh, yeah, that's right, that's over there in the corner. Oops,
yeah.
we missed that. So that's where us coming in and really looking at this, raising those issues,
yeah.
engaging the folks that are working on those technologies is hopefully going to help them avoid those things.
Yeah.
Much like we do in the solder paste arena, where we work with all the major brands around the world, evaluating their materials and providing them feedback on cleanliness.
Yeah.
We often get them in the development pipeline where they'll have some sort of experimental name. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So, XYZ2,
yeah.
here's the data.
Yeah.
Well, that's feedback for them. If they've got 2 or 3 versions that are all looking perfect, one cleans a little better, maybe that's the one they introduce.
Yeah.
That's great feedback for them. That's a service we provide those folks. Helps us and our customers as well. It's the same thing on the print side. This is science and data that they really don't have the ability to generate themselves, and frankly don't have the background to do, much as we don't have the background to evaluate the print itself.
Yeah.
And it's that collaboration that's really critical, and it's everywhere in our industry these days. Collaboration is the order of the day.
Yeah, and as you do introduce those chemicals, whether it's OEM, whether you're selling them direct, however you're doing them, how complex is it in terms of the compliance process, in terms of getting, authorization, certification?
Well,
because that compliance has to go maybe through a white label chain.
Kind of varies.
Okay.
If we take the stencil cleaning and even the understream cleaning tends to be, the reason it hasn't changed in 20 years is no one cares much about it.
Okay.
Right? So therefore, there's not a lot of pushback in those areas, because it's like, oh yeah, that is happening there.
Yeah.
I guess maybe we should think about that a bit more, but not so much. Now, as new pastes and all that sort of stuff, there's a big deal. When we get into assembly cleaning, there's much more of an approval and a control sort of process, and it varies. The military and medical people are quite tight on that. Frankly, they rarely like to change anything.
Yeah.
And everyone else is looking for the classic better, cheaper, faster, preferably 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Is what everyone wants. So that's what they're looking for. But the medical folks are going through some challenges right now with their lead-free exemptions are getting a bit dicey, and so they're all looking for changes, or in the midst of some sort of change. And of course, there's one school of thought that says if I'm changing one thing, God forbid, I shouldn't change 2, and the other school of thought says, well, if I'm opening a can of worms, I don't open it again anytime soon.
Yeah. So challenges there. And we're in Munich, in Germany. The European market seems to have a little bit of a buoyancy at the moment. I don't know if that's the hype of a trade show or whether it's real. I know Q1 was good. Middle of the year, it was a little bit dicey.
Little dicey is the word, from a lot of, especially the capital guys. On the consumable side, we're our ups aren't as up and our downs aren't as down, so we're not as sensitive a meter on that as the capital folks are. But that's clearly the word on the street. But the mood here is really positive. And when you look at the statistics around the world, there's no compelling reason to be particularly positive. But things are certainly on the uptick, and I think it's been such a lengthy trough. That I think
we're tired of looking down. We want to look up.
I think so much of when you look at the numbers are mostly the same in Europe. 60 or 80% of the GDP is essentially going to lunch. It's consumer spending. And going to lunch twice a week instead of one is an emotional decision. It's not a scientific decision. It's not even a financial decision. But yet, it's a big number at the end of the year. And so mood and impression is such a big deal. And I think what's going on is that people have been, and while there's a segment of the society that's in dire straits and dealing with very difficult issues, the larger part is just worry. Worry means I go to lunch once instead of twice. Worry means I put something off to next quarter. And I think it's been going on for so long that maybe people are just a bit tired of being worried, and they're going to take a bit more chance.
Yeah.
And the swings are so, when we think about it, particularly in the West, 3% GDP growth is robust and exciting.
Yeah.
I
How did we get
think
to that?
about that. I mean, and it's such a small swing that makes such an enormous difference. But these mood things, I think, are a bit part of it. So this is very encouraging that the mood is clearly up.
Well, let's try and keep the mood up, whether it's just talk or whether we need more tequila or whatever, I don't know.
Absolutely.
But let's hope it goes that way. Tom,
Yes, sir.
thanks for stopping by. Great to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
Take care. Thank you.